right now. You said yourself you'd be breaking every vow. I can understand you're tired of this town, and I'm not saying that we have to settle down now. Just remember this: we could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you must, to do what your dreams are telling you to do. And I'll be out there looking for someone like you. Stardust, stardust. Ooh, yeah. I'm the lazy one, so I guess I should have known. You said yourself you wanna do this alone. But if your dreams are making it hard to think straight, if you still love me, I can wait, I can wait. And remember this: we could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you must, to do what your dreams are telling you to do. And I'll be out there looking for someone like you. Supposed to go, or maybe I'm just too slow. But we should just lean together. We could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us Wish that I could find words to describe you now. As I'm lying next to you and the world goes by. Wish that I could make you see how you fit me perfectly, and I fall for you again. We've been through it all. You're the one who understands. In a world where hope grows thin, you've completed me, and the story left within tells me how to breathe. Wish that I could make you see how you fit me perfectly, and I fall for you again. We've been through it all. You're the one who understands. The one to make things right, and I fall for you again. We've been through it all. You're the one who understands. And I fall for you again. We've been through it all. You're the one who understands.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. And the old ways get washed out by the rain.
蜂蜜がすごいよね。
Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free. There's a new day to get you through